It's Pod in the City weekly roundup, and this week, baby, we're talking about Carrie. Is she a pick me? Is she a pick me, Amanda? What do you think?
We were discussing beforehand, and we're not sure. No, we said she's not Sheena. No one could ever be Sheena.
Well, I think that there's a consensus now going around. Yes, that Carrie's a bad friend. You know, a lot of people in their rewatches of Sex and the City, and in ours too, we're noticing some things. So, you know, if you like rewatches, if you're somehow just jumping in, we do episode rewatches every single week. Last week we did The Real Me. We're currently in season 4. But we've done season 1, 2, and 3. We've also done all of And Just Like That, including a full rewatch of season 1. So make sure that you're subscribed, you hit like, all of that stuff. We are also live every single Friday, baby.
Even Friday, even Black Friday, we're just jumping on there anyway. So come join us.
We basically do like a morning after. It's also just like a general live stream of like, hey guys, what's up?
It's a nice little group over there. It's such a friendly, lovely group. People are talking to each other in the chat. I love it. It's just kind of like a decompression at the end of the week. It's not stressful.
We have been doing a lot of deep dives over here, and, you know, they really popped off with The Man Who Ruined And Just Like That, and really how Carrie was ruined by And Just Like That. And lately, with that whole idea that, like, people have been picking it apart and seeing the series and watching these cringy moments of Carrie, you know, at Big's door, you know, those are a constant. And really, it's like, people are like, Carrie is a pick-me girl. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, there are times she's a bad friend. Many. And I think she centers men too much. I mean, ultimately, the end of And Just Like That, they wanted us to believe that Carrie was done centering men and that she was just all about her own.
Yeah.
She wasn't alone, but she was on her own.
Except in reality, she walked into the kitchen, opened the oven door, and put her head in like Sylvia Plath.
Oh my God. Great. So, I don't know. Is And Just Like That even canon? You know, I think we had a few ideas of like ways we thought maybe that Carrie was.
Let's talk about this moment here, because not even in the pick me discussion, but this, at least when I watched this as a kid, her dressed up in the French Douleur Exquise episode, I thought that was cute that she did that. I'm like, this is a personality of hers.
I think I saw a clip. And some, you know, how the internet or whoever's listening to you, so they pick stuff up and whatever. It showed me a clip of this, and it was saying that people always leave out the second part of Big's reaction, and Big is actually into it.
He is. They like buck after that. It's kind of one of their hotter sex scenes.
I would argue that there are worse ones, such as "Get it while it's hot."
But I thought that was cute too, and Big likes it. Yeah. Oh, the French fries. That's that same episode, I think.
I think actually the most egregious part about the French fries is that she's like, "Le French fry," or whatever. And then they pull out a large fries, and then she eats them like if it touches her mouth.
There's also the candy striper one. But all of these, I think, were cute because it shows that her and Big have like kind of a playful, that never bothered me. Big never seemed to be against it. He liked it.
Though, is that in general, would people in 2025 call that pick me energy? Because she's doing a lot and Big doesn't really do a lot for her. You know, I guess maybe that's more a conversation of like the general feeling of men and women, where like a woman will like spend days, nights, weeks on like crafting the perfect gift for a man, and then a man will like go to the gas station and get like flowers.
Well, the consensus is that an amazing man is a mediocre woman, and that just kind of is the reality.
Oh, okay.
Streaming. That is true though. Like the amount of effort that I put into just like things that I just find to be minimal effort to like my partner. If men did that kind of stuff all the time, like they would be lauded. Parades would be given for these men.
Yeah.
And if they were doing me at bare minimum in a relationship.
So I guess I'm going to use that context for some of Carrie's actions, where maybe they seem more over the top, but that's because of the patriarchy.
That might be true. Another point that I made was that Carrie is a worse friend to her girlfriends when she is in a relationship.
100%. and that goes into the centering men. Like, the one that always really sticks out to me is in one of the last seasons, and they show it in all the compilations, and it'll be like all the girls are at the diner waiting. They've all gone in like a snowstorm or whatever. They call Carrie, who's late. Doesn't call them, doesn't let them know she's not going to be there, and they're like, "Honey, where are you?" And she's like, "Oh."
They're holding a table, by the way, during a brunch.
Russian is waiting, or it's cold, and I'm going to stay here with the rush. And it's like, that right there just bugs me. That to me is a perfect example of why she is a bad friend. And
she does that too with Miranda when Miranda meets Steve because of the veal.
Oh, yeah. She also kind of does it in general to her general treatment of Samantha. Don't you think? She
acts like Samantha embarrasses her. And I've had friends like this too that I've cut off because they thought I was too body. They liked when I was like body, but like when we were like in public, I've sensed that friends have been embarrassed by me. And that's not really great. And it takes you out of a safety. And I don't think Samantha was ever really safe with Carrie. Carrie is often looking around at the diner. Did anyone hear that? Just embarrassed, apologizing for Samantha.
Well, it's kind of interesting because that whole idea behind Carrie's like guardedness, we've discussed it so many times because, you know, she's a sex columnist, but even in our most recent episode, The Real Me, she's asked to be in a charity fashion show where by season 4, we have established this woman dies for fashion. And she also is like hot as hell. And she wanders and traipses around in like a scarf and nothing else, scarf dress. And she then can't be in a fashion show because she doesn't want to be seen.
Well, in that same episode, she is embarrassed. She thinks it. Well, actually, she is nice about Samantha doing the naked pictures. I will actually say Carrie does. I'll give her credit that she says, "Well, I mean, your bodies never look better. If I look like you, I would get naked pictures." So that's one example of her being nice to Samantha. But like, I just feel like there's a sense whenever Samantha speaks up, Carrie will make bitchy comments like, "Oh, well, if that was you, every man would." You just very.
Think about when Samantha's in her office and
Blowing
she has the UPS guy come, and then she has the UPS guy come. But Carrie barges in and then hits her elbow on the door, and she's highly dramatic and so over the top about it. And it's like, that's because she was giving the guy a blowjob. It's not because she just barged in on something she shouldn't have. So she wants it every way. And you wonder then, why is she like that? Because if we're circling back to the idea that she is a pick-me, is that because, as we've found out, according to Cosmo quizzes, if you are anything but like down the middle of the line, you are either a nun or a hooker, basically. So like Carrie has to ride that line because of the way men will perceive her?
Yeah,
or am I reading too far
into it? No, that's actually a good point. Maybe she's just reading a lot of Cosmo quizzes because I remember always thinking it was very egregious in the first movie when they're all talking about how often they have sex, because Miranda is having a full marital crisis where she's like, "How often do you guys have sex? Me and Steve haven't had sex in 6 months." And then they're like, they all say how often they have sex. And then Carrie's like, "Oh, no, coloring." And she refuses to say how often her and Big have sex to her friends of over 20 years. I would feel like, are we not friends? Like, if you can't even tell me that piece of information.
Well, she asks Big in the episode he dies in to jerk off for her because she's never seen him do that.
She didn't know if he did do it. And then then they don't end up following through. It's too silly.
It's strange because maybe the show doesn't know, maybe it doesn't know how to establish Carrie, because I don't think they want her to come off as man-centered.
But even if you see her with Big, she's always in character. Even in the first season episode of And Just Like That, where they're dancing and she's making fish, everything is so like it must take so much
Performative.
effort to be that performative. She's always in a character, and it makes me think of Sheena, who's always in a character. And when she's putting it on, it heightens the cringe level of it.
Uh-huh.
Or it's like, does Big ever even know you? Does Big know your real personality? Because I bet he doesn't.
I don't think that Carrie maybe knows her own personality, but that also could be just the way a show ends up working, is that like, because in the show she meets so many men, she though has a tendency to do that thing where like you change who you are based on who you're with.
But she didn't really. She's herself with the girls, I think. She's
with
silly.
the girls, but not with the men.
So what man was she ever? I mean, Aiden? When she gets mad at Aiden, I guess herself comes out.
See, I don't know if she could ever, you could say she was ever really herself with Aiden, because she cheated on Aiden through a chunk of it. And like, you kind of weren't being yourself then because you're lying.
And then I had mentioned also that even when her and Aiden are doing well in Sex and the City and they're all out with all the girls, Carrie's being super disrespectful of her friends because she's very nuzzly. And there's like a scene where it's just a voiceover and they're pulling out at the very end of the episode and talking about friendship. And Samantha's saying something and Carrie, or maybe her and Big. And Carrie's like visibly embarrassed of Samantha. And it's like, oh God. And she says to Berger, don't listen to Samantha. She's my crazy slutty friend.
Mm-hmm. Guys, I really want to know your feedback in the comments super bad. Like, do you think that Carrie is a pick-me, or do you think that she's more like a product of the patriarchy? Because I'm kind of feeling like there is an element of that. Because one example I think about is when she, in And Just Like That, when Duncan moves in season 3, okay? And she can't walk around in heels in her mansion anymore because Duncan's a writer and he has to sleep through the night or whatever the fuck. She's very subservient to like doing that, to where I wouldn't be like that. But do you think that's a product of the patriarchy, or is that like a part of the idea of like, I'm going to do what this man tells me to?
And then what happened between Sex and the City and Just Like That? Because her personality and her humor and her silliness is gone. So is that her years with Big?
See, I'll be interested to finish our rewatch of like season 5 and 6, because I'm feeling like some of it is going to, we've already seen in the first 2 episodes of season 4, some shades of like future Carrie. And so I'm wondering if maybe like that'll appear more. There was the change that like in season 4, right? Michael Patrick King ended up being the one taking over.
Yeah, but these first 2 episodes are strong.
There were 2 instances where we said that Carrie was being a bitch. One of them was Samantha was doing something and Carrie was like
slut shamed her in some way, I'm assuming. Probably.
Oh, was it it was Miranda who was doing self-deprecating herself at the party, and Carrie's like, don't do that, or like whatever. And Miranda's like, well, I didn't feel bad until now, I guess. But so yeah, I don't know. I wanted to come in here with like a really definitive feeling of like, yeah, she's a total pick-me who like loves men, like needs men's approval, blah blah blah. But
well, is she not just inherently pick me in the fact that she's can't be happy alone? But I don't know if that makes you a pick me though. Some people just like being with other people more. I wish I was more like that.
By standards of And Just Like That, Carrie doesn't mind being alone.
She's
according
so
to the last 25 seconds of the show.
I guess, except it's not the vibe I was getting off of it.
Oh wait, Amanda, she's not alone.
She's on her own.
She's on her own.
Same thing. Literal different words saying this exact same thing.
I'd argue that it's worse. I'd rather be saying that I'm alone than on my own. Because on my own means like no one's coming to help me. If I'm alone, at least like at some point I could find someone, right? I don't like that idea at all, because in the entire show, the idea was should always have been centered back to the women. And they didn't. They centered it still back to Carrie in the end. Guys, I could bitch about it just like that for another 24 hours straight.
Well, what do you guys think? Is Carrie a pick-me, or is she just a bad friend? Or like, what's Carrie's problem?
What's wrong with Carrie Bradshaw?
Is it the daddy issues? Is it all? I mean, most of us girls are really.
She never talks about her dad, though.
She does. She says in a Vogue idea that her dad quit her and her mother when she was very young. So he was
I'm
an
glad
absent
you have
dad.
a better memory than me. You guys, hit subscribe, hit like, and share, baby. Also,
and check out our Patreon. We also just put out a tomorrow. Well, whenever you listen to this, but on Thursday, the 27th, on Thanksgiving. No, we'll put out our Wicked episode.
You're right. Okay, if you are listening to this in that first 24 hours, oh baby, I owe you a big old smooch.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to it after, check out our Patreon now. Patreon.com/pod in the city. $6 a month gets you ad-free early access, and it gets you a bunch of extra stuff. So go check it out. Firsthand, I have heard from Patreon members saying it is worth it.
Yes, a lot of people say that. It's a lot of content.
Guys,
and we're going
you know what? Happy Thanksgiving. And I'm grateful for you.
And we're going into holiday month, so we'll be doing the last holiday, Divas Christmas, and we need something that we can snark on. So let us know in the comments right now. We love you guys. Have a wonderful holiday week. We'll see you on Friday for our live at noon. Goodbye.
Bye.